Hey, Brother Randy here again. I want to take a moment and just encourage you with a thought. This is a follow-up video from the video I made last week, and I want to thank all of you for your feedback and your comments and some phone calls and text messages and so on. First of all, I want to remind everybody that if you're concerned about me changing, I'm not. And there's a track record there over 20 years. If you want to check out my social media pages, if you want to listen to me preach, I've been consistent everywhere. I preach the same Bible now for 20 plus years. My wife and me, my kids dress a certain way, the same way for 20 plus years. And you can look at all my social media. You can listen to me preach in San Francisco to Boston to Florida to Southern California to everything in between and even other countries. I do cartwheels everywhere. In fact, a friend of mine taught me a long time ago, if you preach the same everywhere, you don't have to worry about answering questions. And that was great advice. But my main point of the message is something that changed my life and my philosophy and my outlook on Christianity several years ago. And that was found in Amos chapter 3 and verse number 3, where it says, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" And I think we can all agree on this, that one of the problems in America today is we spend a lot of time trying to get people to agree with us. And I get it. And we see it in the political realm. Republicans, Democrats, they do the same thing all the time. They're constantly trying to get people to agree with them to get their vote. But when it's all said and done, the point I'm trying to make is this. Our job as preachers and even Christians, as dads, as moms, as husbands, as wives, really all of us, and even teenagers and children, is to try to live in such a way that people will agree with God. You see, this verse many times makes us think that it's about man and man, but really the point of the ministry and the point of Christianity is to get people to agree with God. That is what's essential. You see, we spend a lot of time trying to get people to agree with me, and I'm not always right. The Bible's right, God is right. The ways of God are right. Now we need to agree with Him again. What are some things that God really emphasized? Well, first of all, salvation, man. We have to agree with God on salvation. 1 week ago today, a deaf man came into my office and we sat down, we chatted, and he had been confused about religion. But thank God he got saved. I didn't tell him how to get saved based on agreeing with me. I wanted to show him the Bible. I showed him John chapter 3. I showed him that Jesus said you must be born again. I showed him about his sin, and I showed him all those things so that he could agree with God about salvation. Hey, God's also pretty particular about holiness. The Bible says in 1 Peter that we're supposed to be holy people. In our lifestyles, are we agreeing with God? God's also particular about His Word. God's particular about soul winning and evangelizing. Are we agreeing with Him on those issues? You see, God is here before I ever got here, and He'll be here after I'm gone. He is God of gods. He is the King of kings. Yes, I'm going to continue to preach the same book. I'm going to continue to believe the same way I believe. But I also know God is a God that loves unity. You see that in the book of Psalm, and you see it in the New Testament as Jesus was trying to teach that in Acts chapter 2. The greatest revival happened because they were in one accord. I understand there are times for separation and division, but not necessarily because I disagree with them, but because they chose to disagree with God. The issue is not you and me or humankind or mankind. We are so small to this. We serve a big God that is so powerful, He can save our soul, a God that could create the stars just because, a God that is so real, so powerful, so dynamic that we need to serve Him and we need to agree with Him. Our country's trying to get God to agree with us. Preachers are trying to get God to agree with us. No. It's time for us to agree with God. Here's the sign for watch. Agree. Notice I have to use two hands. Many signs you can use one hand for. But agree, you have to use two hands. Agree. Listen, God's going this direction. I want to go where He's going. I want to follow Him. I fail all the time. But it's not my job to force you to agree with me. My job is to encourage you to join me as I strive to agree with God. So that's the point of what I'm trying to say. Man, and last I want to close with this. God's pretty big on love. He is. And we can agree with Him to love. God is love. And it's time for us to agree with God again. That's all I'm saying. I hope it's a blessing to you. Thank you again so much for your support and your feedback. Thank you, preachers, for standing, for loving the Lord. Continue to pray for our country, pray for the world, pray for missions, and let's agree with God. Love y'all. God bless. Make it a great day.